Welcome to today's Frenzy episode of 360 Sports. I'm your host, Adam Peterzak, and I'm joined alongside
Gavin.
Caden.
Brady.
Let's jump right into it. Baseball's officially back. The Tokyo Series is underway. Not last night, this morning, the Dodgers defeated the Cubs 4-1 in the Tokyo Series opener to officially kick off baseball season. Shohei Ohtani had 2 hits, and Yoshinobu Yamamoto had a pretty great outing. Guys, what are our thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I think this was a great way to start the season. It's pretty cool to have a game overseas, not in the U.S. where the regular season's played. I wasn't very surprised by the outcome. The Dodgers are really good. Obviously, they won the World Series last year. They're one of the favorites to win again this season. And the Cubs aren't really a strong team. But I'm looking forward to this season overall. I think there's a lot of good teams such as the Yankees, Dodgers, and Braves, but there's a lot of teams that could sneak up like the Red Sox. They made some good offseason moves, and even the Padres. They have Tatis Jr., Machado, and Bogarts. So I think it's definitely going to be a competitive season.
Yeah, Gavin, I agree with you. The Japanese crowd is always incredible over there. I did like what I saw from the Dodgers. 8 of their 9 guys in their lineup got on base today. They had 12 up, 12 down from their bullpen, which I think is a very underrated aspect of that team. And Tanner Scott got his first save as a Dodger, their big reliever acquisition. So I think everything just went perfect for the Dodgers this morning.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to have a really good season. Definitely an over 100 win team by the end of the year.
Yeah, the Dodgers are going to be tough to stop this year. They are my pick to win the World Series again, go back to back. I'm a big Phillies fan. I'm hoping we can challenge them a little bit this year, but I don't see us being better than the Dodgers. You guys have any more thoughts? Excited for baseball season?
Yeah, excited for the season. And I think this is y'all can call this a soft take. It's okay. I was thinking about this, though. I feel like the travel fatigue over the course of, like, a MLB season is so, like, you got to feel for them. And I feel like starting games this early, like in preseason and spring training, where they're traveling to like Tokyo and stuff, you got to feel for those guys. I was thinking about that earlier this morning.
Yeah, it's a long season for sure, but you know, they got to stay dialed in and ready to go basically from February to October if they go all the way.
Yep.
But let's switch sports here. On to college basketball. The conference tournaments are complete. We have a bracket for both the men's and the women's. Going back to the conference tournaments, what were your guys' thoughts on the tournaments overall? Were there surprises on either side?
I don't really think there were many surprises. The SEC, we all know, is very competitive this year, so that was kind of a toss-up. It'll be fun to see some new teams. We got Alabama State, SIUE, Omaha, and others will get a chance to play in the tournament, which will definitely be fun for those schools. I was a little surprised that Michigan won the Big Ten. We know they're a really good team. They've been good all season, but the Big Ten's so competitive. They got Maryland, Michigan State, who were the 1 and 2 seeds in the tournament, and I just thought that one of them was going to get it over Michigan. So that was a little bit of a surprise. But one thing I will say is I think Michigan's run in the tournament and throughout the season scared whoever they're going to be playing in March Madness, through however far they make it. So I think Michigan is definitely going to pose a threat to whoever they're playing.
Yeah, I for sure agree. I was surprised. I thought that Michigan State or Maryland were kind of like write-ins for winning the Big Ten. But, Wisconsin took down Michigan State in the semifinal. So I think similar to how you feel about Michigan, I think that's going to give Wisconsin, that experience, that confidence going in. That's already a unit that's very they have the experience. They're well balanced. They play good basketball. They make their free throws. So I think that they have a lot as well going into the tournament.
Yeah, I agree. I was very impressed with how clutch Michigan was, especially that 2-pointer with 0.1 second left against Maryland to win it. That was huge. I do think if Wisconsin did not take out Michigan State would have won it all, because I do still believe they're the most dominant team in the Big Ten. But I was impressed with Michigan overall.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, one thing that caught my eye for sure was out of the number 1 seeds in the tournament this year for the men's, only 2 of them won their conference, and that was Florida and Houston. Auburn fell in the SEC semifinal to Tennessee, and then 3 out of 4. Duke won their conference tournament as well. So that's my bet on that. But still, Auburn not winning their conference title, definitely a little
Auburn
bit
had
of
a little
surprise.
bit of a shaky end to the season.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that'll be interesting to watch out for as we go through the tournament. But on the women's side, I think it was kind of the same as the men's. You got UConn, South Carolina winning. They're always dominant on the women's side of the women's side of thing. I'm looking forward to seeing USC and Juju Watkins. She's absolutely outstanding. And UCLA, who's also really dominant this year, representing the Big Ten. We got 2 new teams, and they're both, really strong programs. So that'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, I like South Carolina and UConn as well for women's basketball. 2 teams I think could really make a run at the championship this year.
Yeah, I'm big on UConn this year. I think that's my pick to win it all.
Yeah, UConn's always been really dominant in women's basketball, but like basketball in general,
Yeah.
because they won back-to-back March Madnesses. So
Yeah, but back to men's March Madness for a second. One of the big conversations right now with the bracket is UNC, North Carolina. They made the tournament over teams like Indiana and West Virginia, who ended up being in the first 4 out group. And the big question is Bubba Cunningham is the athletic director at UNC, and he is on the committee that selects the March Madness tournament. That really raised some eyebrows. So what are your guys' thoughts on this whole thing with North Carolina?
I didn't really think they earned it, but the backlash they're receiving is hilarious. Did you guys see that Patrick Morrissey, the West Virginia governor, he's threatening to sue the NCAA?
Wow.
And
I did not
he
see
was
that.
standing behind a podium when he was announcing it that said National Corrupt Athletic Association.
Yeah, this has definitely caused a lot of controversy. I don't really think it's right that the AD of UNC was on the committee. I mean, that seems a little bit biased, but I personally love seeing UNC in the tournament. They're always a fun team to watch, and historically they've been really good. But I don't really think they deserve to be in it. They lost to all ranked opponents that they played this season, so they didn't have any like really big key wins. And they also, they lost both games to Duke in the regular season by significant margins. Obviously, the one in the ACC tournament was pretty close, but Cooper Flagg wasn't playing in that game. And then they lost to Pitt in the regular season, who was the 13th seed in the ACC tournament, and also almost lost to Boston College, who didn't even make the tournament. So I think that, teams like West Virginia, Indiana, Boise State, teams like them, they should have made the tournament over UNC, but I can't ever complain to see them in the tournament.
I mean, anytime you have a committee, it feels like somebody's going to lose. There's going to be a loser. There's going to be a winner. That's just how, the world works, I guess. Is it a little bit questionable, like you said, that the UNC athletic director is on the board, or the committee rather? Yeah, but I mean, UNC, like you said, did not have those signature wins with teams like, Texas is also in the first 4, but Texas had some signature wins in a loaded conference. So you have to kind of compare. I agree. I don't think UNC should have gotten the bid, but that's the reality, and we'll see how far they go.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the board that North Carolina should not have made the tournament. But like you guys said, they're fun to watch. It's always fun to see them in the tournament.
Yeah.
In my opinion, they might be the biggest brand in college basketball.
Yeah.
And when in doubt, when North Carolina is close in contention to making the tournament, they're probably going to put them in for that reason. But I do agree their AD being on the committee staff is a little bit of a red flag.
I wonder if that's a normal thing. I would have to do some research on if if the timing just added up or lined up where UNC was on the bubble and this year their AD was on the committee, because I believe the committee changes year in, year out. So I wonder if the stars just aligned and that's kind of what created this mess. But
it's kind of like no one's ever happy, right? Not everyone's always satisfied. It's kind of like the college football playoff.
Exactly.
There's always debate about a team that should have made it, a team that shouldn't have made it. So we'll see. We'll see how they do that. I think they play tonight, so we'll see if they can win their game and get into the tournament.
Yeah, they play San Diego State tonight. I guess if they win, they would go on to face Ole Miss, which would be a very interesting game. I really don't know who I'm going to pick in that one, so I guess I'm kind of waiting to see who wins tonight. But speaking of the lower seeds, let's go to our board segment. Every year there seems to be a lower seed, a Cinderella team that really captures the heart of America and everyone loves watching. So we're going to go to the board and go over who we think that could be this year. Caden, we'll start with you.
Awesome.
See.
All right, so Cinderella team is quite the stretch for my pick, but I do think that they are an underdog that can make a run. I went with University of Texas, the Longhorns. When you play in the SEC, as I mentioned earlier, it's a loaded conference. They had, 14 teams get in this year?
Yep.
That's a big talking point. And, the record is not there. I believe they had 14 or 15 losses in the regular season, but they did have signature wins. They beat Vandy and they beat Texas A&M in the SEC tournament. And they fought tooth and nail with Tennessee for about three quarters, and then towards the fourth quarter kind of dipped away from them. And Tennessee's a really good team. But they're led by Trey Johnson, who, fun fact, I actually went to high school with. He averages 20 points a game. He's their, offensive engine. And oftentimes you will see teams try to take Trey Johnson out of the game. They're going to say, hey, we're not going to let Trey Johnson score 30 points on us. We're going to take him out. We're going to send doubles. We're going to send those on-ball blitzes. But actually, if you watch Texas games, their guys, they have the size. They have NBA size on that roster. And guys will elevate and make those shots when those doubles are sent to Trey Johnson. They have guys that can make shots, and they have the size. So I think they have their first 4 game tomorrow, I believe, against Xavier. I think that is going to be a tough test for them. But if they can get over that hump, get that surge of confidence going into the tournament, when you have a guy like Trey Johnson, you can hang with the big dogs. So I think Texas has a shot, just got to win tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
I'd love
like
to see
that.
Texas go far.
I think
for
Texas
sure.
is always good at basketball. I think it was a few years ago they made a deep run. So they're a solid basketball program. I could definitely see them going far.
Yeah.
Especially like you said in the SEC this year, which is like so competitive. So
So many.
they
good
have that
teams.
experience.
It doesn't hurt to put a
Yeah.
big brand in.
Yeah. All right,
Gavin,
I think
what
I'm
are
up
we
next.
thinking?
All right, so my pick, a little bit different. I'm going with New Mexico. So New Mexico, they have made the tournament 6 times since 2010, and they made it last year as well. So they're going for second time in a row. Their guard, Donovan Dent, averages 20.6 points per game, so he's an absolute animal. He's really helped them out this season. They have good experience against playing against other big name teams this year early in the season that are also in the tournament. So they know what they're going up against. They kind of have that. They're battle tested. And then if they were to win against Marquette, which is going to be a good game, but I think they will come out on top, they would most likely play against Michigan State. Michigan State ranks 327th in three-point shooting. So if the Lobos are able to put up some offensive points, I think they could match up pretty well against Michigan State and maybe pull off the upset, and make it to the Sweet 16. So yeah, this is my pick. Let's go Lobos. A little bit different, but
That's a good pick.
I
yeah.
like it.
Yeah, I like that.
The hardest part is figuring out the team that's going to be the Cinderella, you know?
Yeah, I think it's always like, what was it, like Loyola Chicago?
Mhm.
Like, what was that, like 4 years ago?
Yeah.
They made that like
Yeah.
incredible run to like the Final Four as the 11th
Because
seed.
it always happens.
Yeah, it
There's
always happens. You
always
just
a
don't know
team
who it's
that
gonna
gets
be.
hot, and they're, people are like, I've never heard of this team.
Yeah.
And it happens every year.
All right,
All
you're
right.
ready?
next.
Now, I have a team you probably have never heard of. It's only their 5th season in D1, but I'm going with UC San Diego. They are beating their opponents by an average of 18.1 points, which is second in the NCAA, only to Duke. And their average, they do the small things right. They don't turn the ball over. They force turnovers on defense, and they drain their three-pointers. They're averaging 11 three-pointers a game, which is top 10 in the NCAA. This will be, if they're the Cinderella team, this will be a true rags to riches story. And they do have a tough opponent because they're the team that's got to play Michigan, but they have been a really dominant so far this season. And the one thing Michigan cannot do is take this team lightly, because if they take this team lightly, I do not think Michigan will pull it off. So I'm going with UC San Diego, and that's my pick.
I like that. Not turning over the ball is so crucial. I feel like a lot of You can see some really good teams, those top seeds, kind of get loose with that, and it costs them some years. So I really do like that attention to detail.
I've heard a lot of good things about UC San Diego.
I also forgot to mention they have won 15 games in a row.
There you go.
So
wow.
they're
Hot streak.
scorching hot.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, let's finish it off with my pick here.
What you got for us?
You know, to me, a Cinderella, you got to be a lower seed and you got to have a player that everyone will enjoy watching. And to me, Drake is the perfect team that fits that category. They've got Bennett Sturts, averaged 19 points this year, just under 50% shooting. They went 17-3 in their conference, which they won, by the way, 30-3 overall. Ended up beating Vanderbilt earlier in the year, another team in the tournament. And their head coach, Ben McCollum, in his first season, he was a former D2 coach, and he won 4 championships with the D2 school he was with. So if there's anyone knowing how to coach in the tournament, it's Ben McCollum. And I have a feeling he's going to get Bennett Sturts fired up and get Drake able to get going. I love the Missouri matchup for Drake. I think Missouri got screwed having to face Drake in the first round. I think Drake can win that game. From there, we'll see what happens. But I think they're going to be the Cinderella this year.
Yeah, I almost picked Drake. They're a really good team, and I think they could definitely make a little run for it, but we'll see.
Yeah, we shall see. But now let's move on to a different sport, NFL. We've got free agency going on right now, just a little bit over a week in. Let's go over it so far, talk about some of the big moves. Let's each give a favorite player move and the best team so far in free agency.
Yeah, I got a lot for this. I think the Seahawks, they did a pretty good job. They lost Metcalf. He wanted out, and they replaced him with Cooper Kupp, who is a bit older, but he's still a reliable receiver, reliable target. And also my favorite team, the Patriots, they first hired Mike Vrabel to be their head coach and then made a bunch of signings on the defensive side, such as Milton Williams, Harold Landry, Clavon Chasen, Carlton Davis, and Robert Spillane. So that'll really bolster their defense. So I'm hoping that my team's able to, improve after a disappointing few seasons. And also Devontae Adams. He's going to the Rams after half a season with the Jets. Didn't really work out, we all know. But they got Matt Stafford, who's a veteran. Good O-line, so someone where Stafford will have time to throw him the ball, and a great young coach in Sean McVay. So I think that's definitely definitely a winner is Devontae Adams.
Yeah, I am right there with you on the Cooper Kupp signing. I do have one concern. Obviously, the injuries are there. JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba, loves to play in that slot role, and so does Cooper Kupp.
Mm-hmm.
And at Cooper Kupp's current status, can he necessarily win on the outside consistently? I don't know. He hasn't had to really play there a ton because in that Rams scheme, he's inside, he's on jet sweeps, he's doing a lot of leverage stuff. So I'm just interested to see how that kind of works, how they split their time there, because JSN loves to play there as well. But I have a team that I want to talk about, and I love to see teams making good or smart, rather, financial decisions, especially in free agency, because you see teams like you mentioned, the Patriots. They go out, they acquire a lot of talent using that cap room, and the reality of it is that's kind of an overpay. You have to overpay guys in free agency. That's just kind of the reality of it. That's how it works in sports. But the Vikings they chose to, as we can see, Sam Darnold's with Seattle, they chose to pick J.J. McCarthy as their future. Obviously missed his rookie year, but he's on a rookie deal. And having a quarterback on a rookie deal allows you to surround the quarterback with talent, allows you to fill holes, and surround him with a team that can compete, and they won't be, helpless out there. We've seen situations where quarterbacks have not panned out because they don't have the help around them. And I thought the Vikings did an excellent job spending smartly in free agency. They brought in, Jonathan Allen to kind of be that interior 3-tech pass rusher that they didn't really have last season. And I think when you have a team like Detroit in that division, that is a very physical team, loves to run the football, I think that you have to be able to match them physically. And I think that the Vikings did an excellent job. They also signed Will Fries, who's an offensive lineman, to a big deal to kind of bolster that, pocket and give J.J. McCarthy some time to find Justin Jefferson and the rest of those weapons. So I think that is a really smart approach, and I think the Vikings, I think they're a team to look out for next year.
Mhm.
I really like what the Vikings are doing, and it's going to be very interesting to watch them next year. There is a reason that they're consistently good every single year. So, but the team I want to highlight is the Denver Broncos. They
Yeah.
signed Talanoa Hufanga and Dre Greenlaw, and as a 49ers fan, it hurts, but I know how good they are, and I know those are really good signings for the
Yeah.
Broncos.
They also signed Evan Ingram, which I think is a sleeper.
I was getting to that. Now Bo Nix has an actual tight end instead of whatever he had last year. But I really like that Sean Payton knows that he is another ring away from becoming a legit first ballot Hall of Fame coach.
Mhm.
And he's going all in after that. And I think both games against Kansas City will be must-watch TV. And one of them is definitely going to be a Sunday Night Football.
Yeah. Yeah, the Broncos are definitely made some good moves.
Yeah, some moves I've liked. I've liked all those, by the way, but a team I really want to highlight, the Carolina Panthers, last year had the lowest scoring defense in football, and this free agency have really addressed it. Extending J.C. Horn, I get it. It was an overpay, but it was necessary, had to be done. Brought in Rico Dowdle for the offense. Loved that move. Brought in an 1,000-yard rusher when we already had one in Chuba Hubbard, saying we because they're my team. But back to the defense, brought in guys like Trevon Moehrig, Bobby Brown, Tershawn Wharton, Patrick Jones II. I love all those moves. I think it's really been helpful. But a player move I'm really seeing is under the radar. A lot of people are giving it hate. I don't get it. Justin Fields to the Jets. Listen, I know the Jets not that good.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough situation to enter. But Justin Fields is back with his college buddy, Garrett Wilson. And I really think that chemistry is going to help him out.
Mhm.
It's going to help Justin Fields have a career year. Maybe he's this year's Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, and he can earn himself some more money in the future.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Justin Fields. I think he got done dirty in Pittsburgh.
Me too.
He had
I
10
agree.
touchdowns and 1 interception when he got benched. So I think he definitely is probably the best quarterback option for the Jets at this point.
Yeah.
Well,
Someone
we'll see.
young.
Yeah. But moving on now, let's do some trivia. It's time to test our knowledge of current day athletes in some of the major sports leagues. We're going to have 3 trivia questions pop up on the board from different sports, and we'll see if we can get the answers. So let's see what the first one is. Who is taller between Aaron Judge or Jalen Wells?
Isn't Aaron Judge like 6 foot?
He is,
I
I,
think he's
believe,
like
6'7".
ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think he's like 6'9".
Yeah, maybe 6'9".
I'm
now.
taking Aaron Judge.
Yeah, I'm taking Judge.
I know Wells plays in the NBA, but I'm going to take Judge as well.
I feel like
See what
this
the
might
answer
be a trick question.
Yeah, I don't know. But let's see.
We'll rock with Aaron Judge.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, so I was right. Judge is 6'7". I guess Jalen Wells barely edges it out at 6'8". Okay. Good
Not
to
the
know.
greatest
Those-
start.
Oh,
Those
for
ones are
one.
always tough to do.
Oh boy.
Okay. Ooh.
Whew.
Now the Bulls.
10 years.
The Bulls haven't
Derrick
made the
Rose.
playoffs in like a few years.
So,
haven't been good very
what is that?
recently.
Back to 2014?
Well,
Yeah.
I think the Bulls made the playoffs in like 2022. The Cardinals
Yeah.
last made it in 2021.
I'm
I
just
thi-
thinking
I think
grand
it's the-
scheme of things.
I think it's the Bulls.
I do too.
I'm going with the Bulls. Cardinals
Yeah.
have only been good for like 1 year.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
there we
Wow. Very close, but we got that one.
All right, 1 for 2.
All right, let's see what the last one is. Which franchise has a better win percentage in the last 10 years?
Mhm.
Bruins or Astros? Now, I don't watch a lot of hockey, so this one's going to be tough. But
I'm a big Bruins fan.
I'm leaning Astros here.
But I'm going to have to lean Astros.
I mean, I'm leaning
They made the World
Astros.
Series a few times. They
7
won the
straight
World-
postseason appearances, 7
Yeah,
straight
yeah.
ALCS. Well, I guess 7 straight ALCS appearances before last year. We going Astros, guys?
I think I'm going Bruins because the Bruins are always really good in the regular season and they won a couple Presidents trophies.
Could be a trick question.
That's
You're
true.
right.
I'm going to go Bruins too. I'm going to switch my pick.
I'm going to stick it with the Astros.
I'll stick with Houston as well. Let's see what it is. Oh, it's the Bruins.
Yeah,
That
the
was
Bruins.
indeed a
you're
trick
right.
question.
Like I think it was not last
Huh.
season, but the season before, they had like an insane record. They were so dominant in the regular season, and they lost in the first round to the Panthers. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
was
the
upsetting.
Panthers are
Yeah.
giving them trouble.
Yeah, they are.
So I guess as a unit, we went, I don't know. I guess I went one
Not very
for
good.
3.
Yeah, not
Most
our
of us
greatest
went
outing.
1 for 3, 2 for 3. So, do we have anything left?
Yeah,
March Madness bracket pick, men and women.
Champion?
For the champion?
Well,
Okay.
shoot, I kind of already said mine, but
Well, Who'd you say? Remind us.
For women's, I gotta go UConn. I'm too big of a Paige fan. I think there's also some talent that goes under the radar. And then for men's, I want to say Tennessee. I want to say
Really?
Tennessee. Yeah, I'm gonna go
Okay.
Tennessee.
For women's, I'm gonna say UConn. I'm from Connecticut. I've always liked UConn. They're also really good. Men's, I'm gonna go Duke if Cooper Flagg can get back to being 100%, which I think he will be. So they're just so good. They got Cooper Flagg. They got Knuppel. I think they're gonna take the title. Hopefully.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Duke's winning the men's, and then I got UConn for the women's. I just think Duke can hold their own without Cooper Flagg at 100%, and
Mhm.
then it is a long tournament. So
Yeah,
if they get Flagg back at 100% towards the end, they'll be good.
exactly.
Well, I'm going to make it 4 in a row for the women's and also go UConn. I think it's been a few years since they've won, and I'd like to see them get a championship before Paige Beckers goes on her way out there.
Yeah.
In terms of the men's, now this is interesting because I feel like not a lot of people are picking this team, but I'm going to go Auburn to win the men's tournament this year. Yes, I get it. They've been struggling lately, but you look at the teams that they're going to be playing, I don't think a lot of them can stop Janai Broom. And when Janai Broom is on,
Mhm.
he plays like he is maybe the best player in all of college basketball, besides Cooper Flagg. You could argue it up with the two of them, but I really think Auburn could maybe run the table if they can figure things out. And
Yeah.
I think they will.
If they figure things out, I think they're definitely going to be a big contender.
Yeah.
They're going to be hard for.
On the women's side, do we think that South Carolina? What do we think the reason that we're not picking South Carolina might be?
I don't know.
I think they had their time.
But I
Didn't
think
they
they
win
just
last
have. I
year?
think they have the depth, though.
Yeah.
They might not necessarily have the big name that they have. You know, they had like Aaliyah Edwards, I believe, some other big names. And this year, it kind of feels like they're winning, but
Yeah.
it's as a team. So maybe
Yeah.
that's kind of makes it a little less of a flashy pick. But I feel like South Carolina. I was looking at something on Instagram, and they had been the consensus 1 seed going into the tournament
Mhm.
every single year. And I believe it's UConn this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I don't really know what it is exactly. I think, like you said, UConn kind of has their star, whereas South Carolina doesn't.
Yeah,
But I guess we'll see.
Yeah,
we shall.
I just got a feeling it's going to be UConn this year, but
Yeah.
we'll see. And-
MVP, men and women's.
Of the
Oof.
entire tournament. Well, I kind of gave mine away with the men's, Janai Broom, and I think I kind of clued in. I think Paige Beckers could be for UConn if they win it all.
I'm gonna go Paige Beckers too. I like her. Actually, sorry. Juju Watkins.
Oh,
She's
yeah,
awesome.
that's a good choice.
Yeah, I was watching a little show about her the other day. She's done some like really cool stuff with charity too. So I think her play is just also outstanding. So I think she'd be my MVP for the women, and for the men, I'm gonna go Cooper Flagg.
Mm.
Yeah, he's so good. He's so young too. Like what he's doing hasn't been seen in like a really long time. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I got the same picks since I picked UConn and Duke to win it all.
Yeah.
Cooper Flagg's just the best player in college basketball right now, in my opinion.
Women's. I'll throw a little curveball. I'll go Malaysia Fulwiley on South Carolina. She has some crazy layup packages that I always see on Instagram. I think that's a good name. Men's. It's so easy to say Cooper Flagg. The injury, I just don't think.
Yeah, I know. It's the one thing, but I think he's gonna be fine.
It depends on how quick he comes back, but I'll say Cooper Flagg. That's an easy one.
I think he's on track to come back for the tournament. I did read he was out the rest of the ACC tournament, but he's on track to be back. I think for
Yeah.
their first game.
It'll be
Against,
interesting to see if
yeah.
he plays in their first game when they're playing a 16 seed. I don't know.
I could see maybe like if they're up by like 30 at halftime, them resting Cooper Flagg for the rest of the
Yeah.
game. That would probably be the smart thing to do because when you get into the round of 32 and the matchups get harder, you're going to want your guy healthy.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
the specific injury? Is it ankle?
I think it's
Yeah.
an ankle.
Yeah, it was ankle.
Those are tricky.
Ooh.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to play in their first game.
We'll see.
If I had to if I was a betting man.
I think they could win with resting him the whole
Oh,
time.
I
yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
100%.
Yeah, I don't think they really need him to play the 16 seed. I think that's pretty much a
Yeah.
given that they're going to win.
Hey,
Yep.
crazier things have happened.
Right. Well, it
You
looks
never
like
know.
we're out of time today on 360 Sports. Thank you all for tuning in to the Frenzy Show. Once again, I'm Adam Peterzak, joined by,
Gavin.
Brady.
Caden.
and we'll see y'all tomorrow. Have a good night.